Remember my shirt. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just right. Hey everybody, welcome back to Florida Exotic Fish Sales. We just finished. It's Friday. We're kind of done for the day. We're tired. We had a lot of fish going out this week. They all made it where they were going. So we're just going to walk around and feed today. I got this shirt from a friend of mine who visited from Canada, Les Pataki. They ran a business down here. A lot of you probably heard of Pataki's. But he gave me this shirt. I don't know why he gave it to me because I'm not this way, but I'm not going to argue with you about it. But anyway, we're going to feed. So this tank right here, this is what we call our regular pseudo mix. And by that I mean, these guys all, I've explained it before, but they grow at the same rate. So we call them the regulars. They're zebras, red zebras, obie zebras, canny eyes, cobalts, things like that. Now we're gonna, this tank right here, this is a different kind of a, this is like a special tank also. This is Redhead Max. It's got some Libidinochromis ceruleus in it. It's got red exasperatus. And these tubs, by the way, we're always looking for space. And this happens to be what we found one time when we needed some fast space. We always consider our place like a mud dauber's nest, and I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a wasp, and it makes a mud nest. These got clown labs in it, Mozambique elongatus.
Now, are there
Pearl
specific reasons why you match certain species? Is it their
growth
rate or
growth size? If I had 100 red zebras in here, the 100 red zebras would be the biggest fish in here. And even in here, there's a few, looks like a few Sockloppies, maybe. They're some of the biggest, but the clown labs are the biggest here. They're the purple ones with the bars. But we consider these slow growers. And we just learned that over the years. If we mix them together, we're gonna have, that's not gonna be good. We're just gonna have big fish, small fish. Over here now, this tank right here, this is one of our 16 by 16 tanks, and these guys are Buconodos, and they're kind of hanging back because, like I told you before, these fish, you know, they're not like, they don't have like a giant brain, but they're not used to seeing three people stand here unless we're getting ready to throw a seine in and chase them. When Tony or somebody else comes out here to feed them, it's one person, one bucket, and they'd be swarming this area. So they understand what's going on, but they're still swarming it. Over here, now these right here, these are some more, and I would assume these are another type of, we got regular pseudos, special pseudos, and super special pseudos. So this one right here is Rusties and Exasperatus and White Labs and Mozambique elongatus. And I don't know, there's no date on here, but I would imagine these fish have been here for 2 months. Now in here, this is gonna be just a regular pseudo mix. But these guys, now you can see, these probably just came out of here, out from the warehouse where they've been stored. And like I said, they go into the warehouse when they're teeny weeny babies. They're getting brine shrimp for a little bit, then nano. Whenever we get it, they just mix them together, we bring them out here. They check them like this. So in other words, whoever's checking these fish, was probably Salvador, he's checking the reds, the canny eyes, whatever, put them all together. He's not like, we don't have room. There was a time when we raised red zebras with red zebras only, blah, 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 but we don't do that anymore. Here's another tank of fish. By the way, I don't come out here. I've been coming out here. There was a time in my life when I could tell you every fish where it was on this farm. But the guys get on me because I came out here this morning to look at where we could do the feeding, and I was talking to Tony. He said, "This is amazing." How his first thing was, well, you won't walk out here with me. And I said, yeah, I'm never going to. Make a list, bring it to me. But anyway, those are larger fish. Now, these fish, the larger they get, sometimes the harder they get to sell because it takes a bigger tank, and our customers don't really necessarily want to tie up, you know, a 100-gallon tank with big old monster fish. Over here, I would say these look like Buco spectabilis, and they're another beautiful fish. Now these guys right here, they're probably, I'm going to say these guys are a year old, year and a quarter old. But there was probably twice as many fish in here when we started, and they've been yanking out of here for a bit. So they're eventually they're going to have to break this down. They also might be using this during this time of year as a breeder tank. So when they come out here, let's say to catch, like I said, we sell very few females. Come out here and grab 5 males out for order. They may pop every female in there, and that's a species specific. There's no other fish in there that could be breeding. Here's another one, what we call pseudo tank. Obviously, you can tell we raise a lot of red zebras. You know, to us, a fish has value when it's pretty from the get-go. So a red zebra is a red zebra from the get-go. A gold lab's a gold lab from the get-go. There are fish out there like blue-black zebras, red-top zebras that start off brown, and they really got to have a little bit of size on them, but they're still worth having. But most of the fish that are on our list have been and are fish that flat out, they're from the time they're fried, they're great. So people want these at 1.5 inches, they want them at 2, 2.5, 3. When you get up to 4, it's a little bit more difficult to sell them. Here's another tank. Now these guys they've probably been catching out of here for, you know, 1.5 months, 2 months. So there's medium. I cannot believe all the fish here that are not on my list. I think I'm going to have to chastise people. Remember my shirt. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just right. I think and I don't know if they're hiding these from me or if they just assume that I know they're here, but I don't. Now this is starting to freak me out because here's another tank. And I'm going, holy mackerel. Kingfish. I mean, I have to start pumping these fish out. I'm a bad salesman.
And we're feeding these the extreme 1.5.
Yeah, we feed the 1.5 to 99% of the farm. Like back here on these spectabilis, if I was feeding, I would probably have wet this food a little bit. I like to. Nobody else does it for me. I do it because I like it. And I would have wet it and made a mush about it and then thrown it in there. Right here, looks like we've got strigatus. This is I'm gonna wet this a little bit. This is the other cousin of Hap compressicep. Very nice fish. But you know, sometimes I like to throw chunks in. I just like to watch them do it. And when you get to fish like I was telling you about the red bulu, we want those fish to take in a big mouthful. And we were noticing, well, Tamla was telling me that what they do is they take in a big mouthful, then they kind of move it, spit it out, and break it up in little smaller chunks, and then they take it down. But what the heck? These are, I don't know what those are. These are another super special mix, but at a much bigger size. These to me are young breeders. Right out here, this is a leftover pond. That's what our ponds look like. And if you look over in that far corner, that's a pacu. And then you've got some dove eyes in there. And that pacu, a friend of mine gave it to me 1 billion years ago. That's not true, but a long time ago. And he wanted me to store it from him. Well, I haven't seen him in years, so I'm storing it. There's another tank of special pseudos. Now, we do not walk this slow when we're feeding. When we're feeding, we're walking, boom, walking, boom. The only time we stop is if something's going on, the fish aren't eating, then we stop, take a look. Now, one of the things you'll notice is that the multiple varieties of tank sizes. This right here is a 16 by 16 tank, and it's about 30 inches deep, and these are like 5,000 gallons. So this is a grow out. These are, looks like Regal peacocks. These things are Lirios. It's what the nurseries use to actually put giant palms in. It actually has underneath here a way to put a forklift on it. So these are all these sizes. We've got Rigo up here. One of the things we do is we every day somebody's out here draining something. So let me head back over here. We'll show you some other things. But those are 16 by 16s. These are 300-gallon tanks. Over here, these are 10 by 20s. And they're 10 foot by 20 foot by, again, 30 inches deep. And let's see what we got in here. Something. Oh, these are Taiwan reefs. So these are cool fish. We sell a lot of these. And then, but this is 10 by 20. It's about 4,000 gallons. Then we've got, these are 10 by 20s. These are albino of the Taiwan we were just looking at. Now, if you look over there, we have ring tanks. We have 15-foot ring tanks. Over there, we have 18-foot ring tanks. We've got 8 by 16 vaults over there, and we got 8 by 8 vaults there. So what we've got is all different sizes, and we use them for all different reasons. Some of the 8 by 16 we use for breeders because we raise, for example, gold lab by the thousands. So we want a big amount of them. Demasoni, for example, we raise by the thousands. This is OB peacock. Yes, it's a hybrid, but it's a beautiful fish. So this is another 16 by 16. So what you can see here is that over the years, these used to be ponds. Because of flooding, because of toads, because of hurricanes, because of everything, we decided to come out of the ground. And we did it in different ways. These tanks we built ourselves out of a form. The ring tanks are part of a silo, one level of it, and they were fast to put up, and we needed them fast. And then we just kept building and building and building and moving out that way.
Hey, Rick, just, to put this into perspective, how many pounds of feed are we feeding on the farm per day?
I'm thinking we feed between 30 and 35 pounds at the extreme every day that we feed.
And the majority of that's the 1.5, obviously.
Yes,
the
yes,
babies will get the
nano.
extreme nano product.
Yep. And then during the winter time, just like every other cold-blooded animal, these things slow down a little bit, so we cut back on the food a little bit. This time of year, they're very active, and
we have grow outs.
And we're trying to grow them fast. Yeah. And then we want the breeders to maintain their weight, so we're feeding them. So a lot of these tanks, like I said, even though they're catching out of them, they're checking them. And another reason that we need, like for right now, we need a 2 or 3 day clean out. Most of our customers don't realize 90% of our fish are outside. So they call us up on Tuesday and say, can I have fish on Wednesday? Well, no, because if I do that, they're gonna be fouling out the water. Because there's so much algae growing in these tanks right now, and there's so many little creatures in the algae that they're eating that they have to clean out from the food we're feeding them, plus what they're gathering in the tank, so they need clean out. So yeah, 30 to 35 pounds of this food every time we're feeding the whole farm. And I would say 10 pounds when I tell them don't feed any saleable size fish, just feed babies because we're catching. And we want the fish to have a day purged.
Yeah, there's certain days that we would feed the whole farm, and then certain days that because we know we're going to be out catching fish, that we hold off.
Like for example, we don't ever feed big fish on Monday because we're going to start to catch Monday and everything. Oh, and by the way, a lot of you want to see if you can get our fish. Go down to your local pet shop, tell them to give us a buzz.
And if you're a local pet shop, feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah. maybe you can work a deal with them, if they, you get a little bit of discount if we ship them some fish, and I give them a little discount for new customers, which I do. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. This is what it's like feeding the fish farm. Like I said, it probably takes the guys an hour and a half, 2 hours to run through here, fill the farm, to feed it, and then they're done. And then we sometimes hold off a day and only feed smaller fish. And then if we're catching fish, we leave the big fish alone because we want them to eat. We want them to purge out. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to give us a like. Tell your friends about it, share as I get, and also become subscribers. So I hope you enjoyed it. Lots of fish to feed. Thanks.